Imagine flying to the trip of your dreams, only to find out the person you trust the most just destroyed your plans, on purpose. Stick with me while I share my story, and if it touches you, don't forget to support our channel by hitting that subscribe button, dropping a like, and sharing it with the people you care about. My name is Lila, and I had been planning my first solo trip to Italy for months. I was excited, nervous, and ready to explore. My younger sister, Trix, offered to help me pack, but something felt off. She kept hovering, asking unnecessary questions, and acting way too controlling. I shrugged it off, thinking maybe she just cared. I never imagined she could be capable of betrayal. When I left the room for a moment, Trix ripped up my passport and flushed it down the toilet. I couldn't believe it. My dream trip was destroyed, and the person I trusted most had done it. Shock, anger, and heartbreak hit me all at once. The night before my trip, my parents kept dropping hints that maybe I shouldn't go, saying there were family matters I should consider. I tried to ignore it, thinking they were just worried, but it felt heavier than usual. Trix suddenly offered to handle my documents, saying she wanted to make sure everything was perfect. At first, I appreciated it, but soon I noticed her checking my bags, questioning small choices, and acting like she knew what was best for me. It wasn't just concern, it felt controlling. Every time I tried to speak up, she brushed me off with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. That night, I called my best friend, Joss, and poured my heart out. I told him how strange Trix had been acting and how uneasy I felt about my parents' hints. He listened, angry on my behalf, and reminded me to stay strong. I realized betrayal sometimes wears the mask of care. I stepped into the kitchen to grab a cup of coffee, thinking everything was ready for my trip. My passport sat on the counter, and I left it there for just a minute. When I came back, my heart stopped. Pieces of paper were scattered on the floor, and the toilet looked like a disaster. Trix stood there, pretending nothing had happened. I froze, unable to speak. The passport I had worked so hard to get, the one that meant freedom and adventure, was destroyed. Shock turned into disbelief. How could she do this? My own sister, the person I trusted more than anyone, had ruined my plans in a single, cruel moment. I felt my chest tighten and tears prick my eyes. It wasn't just about the trip anymore, it was the betrayal that came from someone who should have loved me, protecting my dreams, not crushing them. I spun around, my voice trembling as I demanded, "Why did you do this?" Trix didn't flinch. She just smirked, her eyes cold, and said, "You weren't supposed to go anyway. It's better this way." Her words hit me like a punch. I looked at my parents, hoping for support, but they stayed quiet, avoiding my gaze. Their silence felt heavier than Trix's actions. I was suddenly alone, trapped in a room full of people who should have been on my side. Anger bubbled inside me, mixing with hurt I couldn't control. My chest felt tight, and a lump rose in my throat. I had trusted her completely, shared my dreams, and now they lay in ruins. Heartbreak and disbelief clashed with fury, making my hands shake. Every word I wanted to say seemed useless against her smirk and their silence. I realized that some betrayals aren't just actions, they're a feeling that cuts deeper than anything else. I sank onto my bed, feeling the weight of everything that had happened. Anger still burned inside me, but I realized that lashing out at Trix wouldn't fix anything. I needed a different kind of victory, one that proved I was stronger, smarter, and independent. I began thinking through every detail. If I could get my documents replaced, book the trip again, and leave without her interference, I would reclaim what she tried to steal. It might take months, but I refused to let this betrayal dictate my life. My mind raced with possibilities, strategies, and backup plans. Each thought made my determination grow, turning fury into focus. The idea of finally stepping on Italian soil under my own terms gave me hope. I made a silent promise to myself, she wouldn't break me. Instead, she would witness my success, and that alone would be the revenge I needed. I began observing Trix carefully, noting every selfish action she took. Instead of confronting her directly, I found ways to point out her behavior to my parents naturally. When she ruined small things at work or interfered with gatherings, I casually mentioned it, letting them notice the patterns themselves. At first, my parents seemed hesitant, unsure if I was exaggerating. But as the incidents added up, their expressions changed. They started asking questions, realizing they had ignored how much she often prioritized herself. I stayed calm, never blaming, just showing the truth through examples. Watching them understand without me attacking Trix gave me a quiet satisfaction. I could feel the power shift subtly. This wasn't about shouting or revenge through confrontation, it was about letting reality speak for itself. Each time my parents acknowledged her faults, I felt lighter, more in control, and ready for the next step in reclaiming what she had tried to steal. I quietly started the process of getting a new passport, keeping every detail hidden from Trix. I researched every step, scheduled appointments, and prepared documents so nothing could go wrong this time. Each small success felt like reclaiming a piece of my freedom. Trix began noticing my distance and secretive behavior. Her questions became sharper, her tone sharper, but I stayed calm, giving nothing away. She tried subtle tricks, testing whether she could regain control, but I anticipated every move. I set up safeguards, double-checking every arrangement, keeping backup plans ready, and avoiding leaving anything unattended. Each time she attempted to interfere, she found no opportunity. The tension in the house grew, her frustration visible, while I maintained a composed exterior. For the first time since the betrayal, I felt the power shift in my favor. The fear and uncertainty that had weighed on me were gone, replaced by focus, control, and the thrill of outsmarting her. Finally, the day arrived. I boarded the plane, heart pounding with excitement and relief. Every step toward Italy felt like reclaiming a part of myself that Trix had tried to crush. I didn't rub my success in her face, but I made sure my parents saw I had achieved what she wanted to stop. I sent postcards home, shared small updates about the sights and experiences, and let the joy of my trip speak for itself. Trix tried to act casual, but the disappointment on her face was impossible to hide. She realized her efforts to control me had failed completely. I smiled quietly, savoring the satisfaction of winning without confrontation. I didn't need to humiliate her directly, the truth was enough. Watching her finally understand that I had moved past her sabotage gave me a sense of triumph I never could have felt through anger or revenge. It was victory earned with patience, strategy, and dignity. Sitting by the canal in Venice, I finally let myself think about everything that had happened. The betrayal, the heartbreak, the struggle to regain control, it all rushed back, but instead of pain, I felt clarity. I understood now that Trix's actions reflected her own flaws, not my worth. I forgave her silently, not because she deserved it, but because I needed to release the anger weighing me down. At the same time, I knew I had to protect myself, so I kept my distance, setting boundaries that would prevent future harm. Every step I had taken, every plan I had executed, had taught me patience, resilience, and the importance of trusting my own instincts. I felt a quiet pride swell inside me. This journey wasn't just about Italy, it was about proving to myself that I could rise above betrayal and take control of my life. For the first time, I felt truly independent, strong, and free. When I finally returned home, everything felt different. I carried with me the confidence and lessons I had earned on my trip. I noticed the change in the air, Trix's charm no longer worked, and my parents began seeing her selfishness clearly. Her attempts to manipulate were met with doubt and caution, and the trust she once enjoyed had faded. I didn't need to confront her or gloat. Life itself had shown the consequences of her actions. Watching her struggle quietly while I moved forward gave me a sense of peace I couldn't have achieved with anger alone. I realized that betrayal hurts, but how we respond defines us. Planning, patience, and self-belief bring victories that last longer than revenge. Sometimes, the most satisfying triumph isn't punishment, it's thriving despite the people who tried to hold you back. Sometimes, the best revenge is simply living your life fully, without letting anyone else control it. Do you think I did the right thing by leaving them, or should I have given them another chance? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe and hit the bell for more stories like this.